Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network, a station dedicated to the concept that all manifestations of the divine are equally valid. Join Reverend Terry Power HP, Robin McKean, and all the hosts for programming covering a wide range of spiritual topics, right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to an emerging forest, a safe place where we have the freedom to think about life without judgment. We take a look at society, we examine it, and we allow for the possibility of something new, something different. And now, here's your host, Alan Ritter.
Welcome, everyone, to this second Sunday in July 2019, but it is, in fact, the first Sunday that I was on the air as I took a mini break last week, because in the last 2 weeks I've been physically moving my produce club from one location to the other and one location to another, and it's been a lot of work. So this week I am honored by my special guest, Sean. Hi, Sean. How are you doing?
Hey, Alan. Thank you so much for having me on.
Great. So basically what I'd like to do is I'd like to start with maybe like a minute about what you offer, and then we'll sort of backtrack. We'll sort of start with like you at the present, what you do now, but then we'll go X number of whatever backwards and sort of give a how you got there picture. So what do you do now? What's your thumbnail of what you do?
Okay, so right now I've been going around. I'm part of the South Jersey Sound Healers, and I also do, well, all of us actually do individual therapies as well. But basically we all go around and we'll play different sound healing instruments, the crystal singing bowls, chimes, different things, and just facilitate healing. And the more that we go around and offer this, the vibrations are going off into the universe as well. So it's not just the people in the immediate proximity who are getting this healing. It's like little teams of sound healers are kind of like popping up all over the place. So, it started out with the South Jersey Sound Healers, and now I do home sessions. I just started doing Reiki. I started out as a massage therapist, so, just a lot of different healing modalities that I've been kind of, putting all together into very customizable one-on-one treatments.
Okay, so do you still are you still an LMT, a massage therapist, or did you let that go?
I somewhat let it go because a few years ago I actually hurt my shoulder. I was doing too many deep tissues, I think. And but now, I'll still do it a little bit. Like when I'm doing Reiki, I'll maybe, do some massage on the back if I feel led to. If the spirit wants me to do that, that's what I'll do. So, yeah, I incorporate it, but I don't do it at like a spa anymore, no.
Yeah, I've been associated with some massage therapists, and it's quite the physical training challenge to the therapist to actually stay on top of their own physical condition especially if they're doing deep work.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's so true. And it's funny because a lot of people – oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
You know, a lot of people, when they experience the sound healing with the crystal singing bowls, they say it's like having a full body massage. Afterward, they feel just your whole body is so relaxed, your spirit, everything. So I still get to kind of offer this amazing thing to people without having to kill myself.
So your path. I'm just trying to lay out what modalities you have. So basically, you started in the healing area as a licensed massage therapist, and then you started getting into the sound, or you got into the Reiki first.
Actually, it was Reiki along with massage therapy, but I never really went to go get my level 2 certification up until recently, and then the sound healing actually maybe only started like several months ago, and it's amazing, like all the amazing people I've met through this journey. I mean, it's pretty cool to see how this holistic community is really kind of on the rise now.
Okay, so I think that's a good overview. So in what so if people are looking for you, where can they find you?
So I am located in Buena, New Jersey. I travel all over South Jersey. We do a lot of, so we do the group sound healing, the South Jersey Sound Healers. We do, it's like a multi-sensory sound healing event. We do that once a month at Monero Chiropractic. I also do solo events there that are more like shamanic. There's a lot of drumming along with the sound healing, you know, the bowls and a lot of like journey work and different things. What else? There's all kinds of stuff popping up, you know, like different, like gardens will have us. So, you know, I do come to the home all over South Jersey, but also we do events. I do events, you know, all kinds of different things are going on. So, you know, you can check me out on Spirit Echo's Facebook page, and I list all the events there, and also the South Jersey Sound Healers. So, you know, there's tons of different ways to get healing now.
Okay, that's a really good summary and a really good enunciation of finding you on Facebook at Spirit Echo or at South Jersey Sound Healers, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like you to think about where this started for you, or what the audience would appreciate about you. What was your I mean, from my own experience, it was always what was the issue that caused you to see things differently than society normally sees them. And it's usually, from society's perspective, it's usually not a fun event, but it's a catharsis, it's a catalyst, it's right. the fuse that touched you off. Yep. So take us a little bit on your journey and sort of give us a sketch of what made you.
All right. So, you know, it's funny. It's for the longest time I thought it was more recent, but it actually does go back to my childhood. I was always very, very sensitive. I was diagnosed with all these different things from doctors, had a ton of child study teams. You know, I was sensitive to the touch. I didn't like my hair being touched, you know, just, you know, I was, you know, I think they call it sensory now. But I was pretty badly bullied in school. And then, like, even the teachers didn't really like me because I don't think back then they really understood. And, you know, so that was tough. And then as I got older, I think I was around 13, I met this girl, and she seemed like the only other person who really was deep like me. Nobody else in school cared about the stars and how we got here and all that. So, we became very close, and she ended up living with us. And unfortunately, as the beautiful people, the deep people like us are, they're usually pretty jaded. And so she had a lot of her own baggage coming from her home in Philly. So she was actually, she ended up being pretty abusive to me. And we were together for about 3 years. And then, let's see, after that I was in another relationship for another 3 years. And that was a nice, normal, pretty steady one. And then I was with a guy for like 9 years, and that was just basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is I was always in a relationship. I was never alone. I was never just able to learn and live and grow on my own. I was always, even when I was a kid, I wanted my mom there. I wanted my best friend there. I was never able to just sit with me. So, all the relationships I were in were pretty abusive, codependent, very unhealthy, always together. And then after the last one for 9 years, I moved to Atlantic City. I was working in a spa, and I found drugs. And so that was my new relationship. And, it was good for a while because it was like, wow, I'm not dependent on anyone anymore. But really, I just became dependent on a substance. So a couple years of that. And then I met the man I'm currently with, Mark, and he actually brought it to my attention, hey, this is a really unhealthy way of living. And I don't know how we even stayed together, to be honest with you, because we are like apples and oranges, or no, not really apples. We're just like total opposites, but I do believe that the Creator brought us together and that we both have very important things to do and teach. So, as I was with him, it was bumpy, and I was still battling my addiction. I had a son, and I was able to stop any substances while I was pregnant and breastfeeding. But then the second I was done, I was right back on the stuff. So long story short, I went to rehab, and this is where I thought my spiritual journey started. But really, like I said, it's been my whole life. I was always prepared for that. So in rehab, I was finally pushed to be uncomfortable and pushed to be alone. And I remember, just crying myself to sleep, unable to eat, unable to sleep. It was just, the hardest thing I've ever done. Even though there were doctors there and things like that, I was away from all that had become my comfort zone. And I have terrible anxiety. So, I was having panic attack after panic attack, and it was just, it was rough. But I'm so glad it happened because I remember one of the women in there said, when I get out of here, I'm going to do all the things I always wanted to do. I'm going to start that garden that I never started. I'm going to climb those mountains that I always wanted to climb. And that really touched me because as much as I thought I was living my life, I really wasn't going out and doing all those things. And, I talked a good talk about living your life to the fullest, but I never actually did. So I got out, and I went back to my 9-to-5 job for about 6 months, and then I just reached this breaking point. I started to relapse, and I started to get right back into my old negative thinking patterns. So I just quit. I stopped going back, and you know what? That place is amazing because they were very understanding about me just kind of like disappearing. Just a few days ago, they messaged me and said it looks like I'm doing good, and they were so sweet about it. I couldn't believe that they were so nice to me. But it was a toxic place for me and where I was at that time in my life. So I quit my job and I started going to there's this thing, I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly, Antanaco Earth Art School with Olga Schur. And that was the first thing I did, was one of her retreats at the farm. And I started meeting people who were fulfilling. They were just wholesome, wonderful people. And I had never met people like that before. And, so I started doing different things. And, through these people, I learned more about herbalism and this and that. And then I went to a sound healing thing right here where I live in Vineland. And I fell in love with it. I remember laying there, And it was like I didn't need any drugs. I didn't need anything. I was just so happy where I was, around beautiful, like great energy. And it was funny because the next time I went back for the sound healing, they said they would teach me how to do it. So, that's how the South Jersey Sound Healers came about. They taught us, they taught a group of us, and we all stayed together, and we're still like a family to this day. We get together and play the instruments. And, it's been quite a journey finding myself, and all the sensitivities I had when I was a kid that I had pushed down for so many years by, staying in relationships and doing unwholesome things. Now it's like my child inside of me is coming back, and it's beautiful. It's like I'm not upset that I'm sensitive anymore. I'm not upset that, any of the things that I used to not like about myself when I was little. I was weird. I didn't know how to dress or whatever. I couldn't fit in. And now I'm like, I love the fact that I dress crazy, and I love my life, and I love who I am, and it's just been a really, really beautiful journey and a beautiful experience. And it's funny, I'm actually finding out people like me. I think that was the scariest thing was, and when I go into the rooms of NA and AA, a lot of people say the same thing. That's why they started doing drugs too. Is they were afraid people weren't going to like them because of experiences in their childhood. And it sounds so stupid, like, well, I don't care if people like me. But, we all kind of do. It's like a primal thing, and to just be accepted, I guess. And, I'm finding out that the people who do like me are really cool, and the people who don't, it doesn't matter because I don't need those people in my life anyway. And, it's just been very, very freeing. And, so I guess a lot of, it's funny. You can hear pretty much the same story if you go into these rooms of NA and AA. A lot of people share the same thing. It's so crazy how much pain there is in the world.
Yeah, it's interesting on my journey and in all the mental wards that I was in. I wasn't really in a mental ward because there was something wrong with me. I was in a mental ward because I was looking for answers. And I was saying, well, maybe they know something in there. And I went in there and I just looked at all the people that were in there and I said, this is where all the sensitive people are.
Yeah.
The people
Definitely.
The people who are actually out in the world they've lost their sensitivity, or they've submerged their sensitivity so far, and they're never going to work on their stuff.
Yeah.
So they've
true.
put their identity behind a mask from which it will never emerge.
That's right.
And they're never themselves.
Yeah,
and
it's horrible.
The journey is basically to figure out that it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about you. And to see, hey, I've been working on this one wall for, if you believe in lives, I believe in lives. I've been working on this one wall and this one particular thing in my life for the last 100,000 lifetimes.
Right.
That's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to do. It doesn't matter what society is doing. It doesn't matter what the trends are. It doesn't matter how they dress. It doesn't matter how they get from their home to their work. That doesn't matter to me. The only thing that matters to me is I finally found my wall, and I'm going to sit next to it, and I'm going to do what I need to do in life in order to sit next to that wall and continue my work.
That's right.
And when you understand what the priorities in life are, you understand how old you are, you understand how long you've been doing your work. Society and all its niche, trendy whatevers pales actually, it doesn't pale, because pale means you can actually relate to it. It's like, I don't even know what Netflix is.
Yeah.
I haven't watched television. I mean, I haven't watched television since the early 90s.
That's great.
I don't
Good for
understand.
you.
I don't understand any of it. And
yeah.
And then that was when I still hated myself. That's because I was basically just disaffected. But then in my journey from 2005 onward, and especially after the fall of 2014, because that's when I found out that I'm the hero in my own story. And I'm the person that I'm the person that I need to devote the most love to, because in reality, I'm the only person I'll ever know.
Yeah.
So I need to cultivate my garden. Now, I can cultivate and help other people's garden, but it's only because I want to cultivate and further my own purpose. But everyone else is also help and furthering their own purpose. So you get together with a group and you co-further similar purposes.
That's so true.
And it's so simple, but there's a lot of distractions. And I don't look at other people. I don't look at the people who are doing the main mass society and say anything other than there are certain experiences that everyone needs to have in order to build their larger soul character. And it's a very, very, very long journey. It's an immensely long journey. And I can't, because it's so complex, I can't look at any other person and say they're not doing exactly what they should be doing, because they are. And
right.
I just say, I just have to have faith in the process. I can't appreciate all the various different colors of the rainbow, because there's too many of them. I just have to say, I gotta do my best. I will rub elbows with certain people, and those are the people I'm supposed to rub elbows with. And I can't be worried about what other people think of me or what I think of other people. I just have to, do my little. I have to focus really hard on understanding where my heart and my soul journey is, because it's liable to be someplace really, really niche-y and really, really tiny, and I have to dig really, really deep to get to it. And then because it's not going to be what society is doing at all. It's going to be could be unbelievably strange. But once you get there and you know what it is, as I say almost every show, you found your passion, and if you can only devote 5 minutes to it per week because you're paying bills, doing other stuff, you're still chipping away. You're still making it happen.
Definitely.
So what instruments? I mean, how do you? Here's an interesting thing. How do you? We have about 6 minutes before the break. So to everyone who's listening, this is definitely a call-in show. And the number to call in is 646-564-9714. That number again is 646-564-9714. So when you take us through two scenarios. So the one scenario is you're preparing to give a, let's call it the grand concert, which is basically your monthly get together with the sound healers. And so first take us through. Do you do a theme? Do you talk to the other players? What is the preparation phase for that? So that's the first thing I want you to talk about. And then the second thing I want you to talk about is if you're going to someone's home, what do you do? What do you do to prepare? How do you talk to them? And what do you find out? What do you orchestrate in order to be prepared to go to that? So let's start with the concert preparation.
All right. So for that, we all have massage tables. A lot of times, we don't even necessarily need them, but so basically, sometimes we'll set up the massage tables and we will have people lay on them, or sometimes we'll just have people bring, blankets, mats, whatever they want to be comfortable. We all set up throughout the room in kind of like a big semicircle, and everybody has their own cool little setup with, lights or little statues. They bring crystals or whatever they feel that they need that night. And it reminds me of, like when I was in high school, when we would do a play, like before the play, the backstage, you're all excited and hugging. It's very similar to that. And then, the people start to file in, and I always get anxious. I think a lot of us do. And, but it goes away the second you start to play the bowls, and you're just with good people. But, the setup is pretty simple. I have like a chakra set. So I have 7 bowls, and they all the notes correspond to a specific chakra. Not everybody has that. Some people have like the alchemy bowls that are infused with selenite and different things, and there's different instruments that go to. So I set up my 7 bowls around me, and I have my my little statues, my little corner, and we all just sit. People lay down, and we play for them, and all the vibrations, they're getting it from every corner of the room. And there's just so much healing that goes on in that room. It's amazing. And, we have a couple coming up where we'll be outside, like by the fire, under the stars. There's one in a garden coming up. So, it's just amazing. All the different possibilities, but it's always pretty much the same. We make living mandalas where we'll set the people up like they're part of a mandala and then play the bowls around them. And a lot of us are Reiki certified too, so a lot of times you just naturally get Reiki while, you're getting the crystalline healing. And then for my home things, I'll either come to their house or I will stay in my own. Sometimes I'll do it out in my front yard, sometimes in the house. A lot of people like it outside. I love it outside. And I have my massage table. I set it up, and I will either put the bowls underneath of it or around it. I'll do some drum work, play. It really, when I do my stuff, my solo stuff, it's very, very individualized. I have them fill out an intake form, and just kind of tell me about any specific things they really want to work on or treat. And sometimes I'll find stuff that they didn't even know they had. Like this one woman, we realized she had like an energy of a masculine energy trapped in her elbow that was causing like tennis elbow. And, we're still actually working on that. But it's crazy, the stuff that comes up during these sessions and the things you see. And when I'm doing this, I pay a lot of attention. Even, days after the healing, things come to me, like a hummingbird came to me. And we never get hummingbirds around where I live. And this hummingbird was just hovering in front of me. So, it was just, there are different things that, way after the actual healing takes place, that there's signs. So I'll connect with my patients or my clients and, days afterward and send them information and, sometimes give them like herbal remedies and, different things. Like we've got a ton of great plants that grow, plant medicine all around us. So, there's just, it just really is intuitive, and it's very based on, what does this person need? Do they need to do journey work? Do they need Reiki? Do they need sound healing, massage, crystal? Should I put a crystal here? Is this going to help open this or realign this? So, it's all just like a big, it's actually kind of like the way I am with everything. It's like the way I dress. It's a whole big mishmash of stuff, and somehow it's me. And same thing with my healing, same thing with my cooking. Everything I do, it's like a big conglomeration of different things, and it just works. That's who I am, and, that's my style, I guess. So, that's and another time I saw little black butterflies out of the corner of my eye while I was doing I think it was actually a massage on a woman. And I couldn't help but ask her, I'm like, do black butterflies mean anything to you? Like, this was before I ever actually started healing like this, and she started crying, and she said that her daughter had recently passed away, and she had this black jewelry box with black butterflies on it, and she wasn't sure whether she should keep it or not. And, and that was like just amazing. Like, little things like that come to you, and you really have to pay attention to them because, the spirits, the universe, whatever it is, it's always talking to you. And so I put that into my setup a lot, like, where I need to set up, I don't know, I guess you've probably seen people like call in the 4 directions. I always create sacred space before I do anything. And I just really, really, my fiance makes fun of me. I'm like Pocahontas. Wherever the wind takes me, I follow it. I just let it, take me where I feel like I'm meant to be. So, yeah, it's like it's not necessarily always structured. It's kind of like it just happens, I guess. It's like, oh, here, I'm going to put these here and play this way. And, yeah, so that's pretty much it. One more thing, and I'll stop. This little boy, actually, I had a crystal singing pyramid, and we were at this meditation maze. It was a grand opening for it, and this little boy came over, and I let him hold it, and he just happened to drop it right on my bowl, and the pyramid shattered, and the bowl was fine, but you could tell he was mortified. So it was more important to kind of just be like, it's okay, than to like further traumatize this poor kid like for the rest of his life. I just broke this lady's crystal pyramid. But, maybe I wasn't meant to have that one, and I have one more. So, but that one I still bring with me because it kind of reminds me to be mindful, and, we do have to really be aware of our surroundings and, just kind of be okay with circumstances the way they are. So, I don't know, yeah, you're just constantly learning, and, maybe I won't let children play with it next time. It's always learning something new.
All right.
But yeah,
thank you
it.
so much. And so let's take a break right now, and I'll play a song by Dave the Bard called Howl and Toe.